Batter up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fishy Film Friday. Today we're watching the film Mr. 3000. And so this is a film that is very 2004. And I'm really excited to be joined by two great people. Really respected.
He does not say friends.
Two great people. We got Jared, who's calling in from Chattanooga.
Docs.
Say hi, Jared.
Yeah, Chattanooga. You know, Mr. 3000 might try to claim his glory for 3,000 hits on the field, but the real glory comes from a Mr. 3. And I'm talking about our man JC, who rose in 3 days. That's the real Mr. 3000.
JD Vance?
Oh, Christ.
Oh, the Lord. We're coming up on that day, and so it's sort of the spring training is a rebirth, and so is the coming of the Lord when he moved that rock. So,
and we're in our second week of Lent, so hopefully everyone.
Nice, you look good. How's the fish been?
Fish is good. Skin is soft. I got a little bit of sun today, but you know, Jesus walked in that desert for 40 days. I'm walking through the South.
Yeah, you are the most Christ-like on the podcast.
I've been in the wood shop lately.
Nice. Carpenter.
I think historically, like, depiction of what Christ may have looked like, Danny would probably be that.
Okay, well, that was...
Yeah, if he's a bit browner.
Yeah.
But we don't know what Danny looks like because he is a fish. And so, Danny, how are you doing this?
And maybe that was what I was saying is no one really knows what Christ looks like. Not because he was a fish.
What if God was one of us?
Oh.
I'm good. I don't really have any big long interlude like Jared, although I guess Pope Francis is back to life, so that's good for us.
Is he really? I haven't checked up. I haven't checked up on that recently.
He wants to see the Browns this season. He believes in Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and
did you guys see Conclave?
I saw Conclave.
You did?
Is he in it?
Yes. Yeah, I don't really have any announcements to make other than that we're rooting for you, John.
Oh, nice. Already yawning. Jared's got one yawn already on the pod, and he's an hour behind us, so he should be fresh for this one.
You know,
he should be ready.
Funny?
What?
I'm actually in your time zone.
Wait, really?
Oh,
yeah, I realized it a couple days ago, but it was more convenient for me today.
Well, that's all right.
That's pretty funny.
It's fine because fish swim at night too. So
yep,
and the pod lives on.
And they're about to go upstream. Fish swim while they sleep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that must be tiring as hell.
Oh, they like do it at a slower pace.
Dude, I'd be so snatched if I could swim while I slept.
That's true. What if you could run in your sleep?
I'd have cum gutters that could catch any batter.
What?
I don't know. When you said batter up earlier, I was thinking about baby batter, and then I was thinking about being
gutters?
Cut.
Dude,
yeah,
that was like 5 minutes ago.
When you got those V's on the side of your abs.
Yeah, that's how fish reproduce. But
I have never heard that.
You've never heard cum gutters? Jared, did you know cum gutters?
Not as a physical description.
No,
I mean,
I've never. I never sat in biology.
Yeah, it's like when you got the V. When you got the
that.
V, it tracks the cum.
That's
like
disgusting.
Gutters.
What school was saying this, or this was you and your buddies?
This is the streets. Up? They're saying this down Broad Street. They're saying a bunch of stuff like this.
Docs. The only Broad Street I know is the one that your bitch lives on.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, George.
Tell us a little bit about Mr. 3000, Tim.
That just made me think of that video from Philly where they're like, "This is the neighborhood," and then she screams. You know that one?
No, I don't know that one actually.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'll send that to you.
Do you know this place?
Yeah, so the film we watched this week was Mr. 3000. We said earlier, this is a sports comedy. It stars Bernie Mac, who's a legend.
Which, may I point out, not that funny.
Whoa.
You think outs just in general or in this role?
Oh, no. Not Bernie Mac is not funny. I don't know that,
film.
I was surprised to see it listed as a comedy in retrospect.
Right.
I laughed maybe 4 or 5 times. There were humorous scenarios, but it wasn't like I wasn't laughing a lot.
Yeah, for sure. But
Would you agree or disagree?
I mean, I would agree. I think the premise is great.
Yes.
It's a great premise, and they do set up scenes where it's like, oh, okay, they can do something really funny here, and then they often take like a safer route or like a just
Like almost
a
romantic
Whoa!
route
Did you guys hear that
sometimes.
right.
sneeze?
That was a
No.
sneeze. That sounded like a wailing dog.
That's a sneeze. That was. I don't know who that was. Someone
Tell
on
your
the phone.
fiance to get a Kleenex or something.
I think it might have been her mom.
Dude, if you can hear your fiance's mom sneezing at nighttime,
Oh,
you
that's
got
not
bigger
good.
issues. You know what I mean?
Oh,
The
Okay,
cum
so yeah,
gutters.
so
batter up.
it's BAFTA bait. Um,
This is definitely a BAFTA bait film. Bernie Mac was going across the pond
well,
for
his
this.
co-star, I was definitely thinking about BAFTA baiting, I'll
Okay,
tell you that
well, let me
much.
get into this. So Bernie Mac plays Stan Ross, who's this selfish baseball star who essentially he retires immediately after hitting his 3,000th career hit. That's sort of the first scene, but he finds out 9 years later that three of those hits were counted in error. And so now he's nearly 50 years old. He's 47. He attempts his comeback into Major League Baseball to reclaim his legacy and join the Hall of Fame.
If I wanted
That's
to
the
come
whole.
back, I'd go into your cum gutters.
Well,
Sorry.
and so we. All right. This film, of course, stars Bernie Mac, who from the Bernie Mac show, and also Ocean's 11. We love
Transformers.
him. We love him in Ocean's 11, though. I don't remember him in Transformers. Was he Bumblebee?
No, he was the car salesman that sold Bumblebee.
Oh, gotcha.
Bernie Mac's good. And I was
Bernie
Well,
Mac
watching this
is
movie, I
great.
was thinking, you know what? I wish this guy got more credit than he gets.
Yeah, he kind of just
absolutely.
disappeared.
And he died.
Yeah,
Well, he
like I feel
died.
like I want to see him in more roles now.
He died.
Oh,
He had a
well,
heart
that'll
attack.
hurt. That'll hurt
He
your career,
literally
I suppose.
he had a heart
Wait,
attack.
Danny, you didn't know that?
He had a
You
heart
watched this
attack.
whole movie and didn't know Bernie Mac was dead.
That's
No, I
crazy.
was like, this guy's great. I wish I saw him more often. He's
Yeah,
a
well,
handsome man.
He died in like 2006. He died 2 years after this movie at
No
50
fucking way. Why?
from a heart attack.
Yeah.
But he was so jacked in the Pilates
I know
sequence.
he looked the Pilates scenes and
I did like that montage. The
the
spin
That
spin
montage
class.
class.
was
He looked
goaded.
the spin class.
Yeah,
He was
spin
in
class
great
is
shape.
funny as fuck. That was actually the
That,
sequence that I thought was the funniest was him working out.
yes, totally agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
I
And
was
I usually
surprised
don't
he
I don't
wasn't
like
more of a
workout
horn dog.
montages. What'd you say?
I thought he was gonna be more of a horn dog in like the workout montages with like
No, he was a
Pilates and spin.
lover boy from start to finish. That's one of his
Yeah.
most redeeming qualities.
Yeah, and so his love interest is played by Angela Bassett, who
Babe.
she's in Black Panther and
She's a
uh,
dime.
she's in What's Love Got to Do with It. I haven't seen
She's in
that,
my
but
dreams tonight.
so yeah,
Wow.
she plays an ESPN reporter and a former love interest that he then rekindles his love for. Really brings a lot of depth to this film, and she has a lot of screen time. Like
Yeah, she
maybe
was
like
good as well, I think.
maybe like 15% of the movie's dedicated to her.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I think that's somewhat what a lot of successful men's lives are like. They dedicate 15% of their time to their significant other.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I think another character was just a couple of other cameos that I enjoyed. Well, first off, that Brian White was this young and up and coming player whose name was T Rex Pennebaker. He's sort of
Yeah,
the
that was
hot shot,
ridiculous.
the new player in town.
What has that guy been in
He was in
He,
otherwise?
Stomp the Yard,
Okay.
no, but I feel like he's
but
in some more shit. I'm trying to think.
He was looked
he's got
so
a
familiar, but I kept on
yeah.
being like, is that Michael B. Jordan?
Well, that's
No,
just not right at all.
that's definitely not Michael B. Jordan.
But he was a great ball player. I mean, he was hitting the cover off the ball.
He
He was
was,
on
yeah,
the.
smashing
He was
that
like
thing.
what was he on the cover of EA Sports MLB?
Yeah, he was. There
Yes.
was some. Yeah, he was on MVP Baseball 2005, one of the best sports video games of all time. But we don't have to talk about that. This is
Actually,
a
I think
movie
I kind of would
podcast.
like to at some point, but we'll save it. We'll save it.
A couple other actors. Paul Sorvino from Goodfellas is the
Yep.
team's manager.
Yep.
Um, he's great because I don't think he says anything until the last scene where he
Yep.
Which was a
yells,
great moment.
which is a great moment. But it's kind of hilarious the whole time how he just doesn't talk. Like
Yeah,
he's like almost nonverbal, like autistic, but
yeah.
then like freaks out at the end. And then my favorite actor
Okay,
in the
I was
film.
waiting. I thought you were gonna miss it.
What?
I know you're going. Finish up.
My favorite actor was the actor who played Anthony Boca Carter, who was Michael Rispoli, uh, is the actor's name, and he played Jackie Aprile Sr. season 1 of The Sopranos.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
I feel like
And
they definitely casted him just because Sopranos was hot when this came out in '04.
well, his character was, if we want to be exact about it, his character was already dead by 2004, so he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
he
but
was
He
people
was
were gonna
free
see
fully
that.
to he was free to film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Because famously, if you're an actor on The Sopranos, you're not allowed to have any outside work, be that movies or films or anything. And that's one of the reasons they killed off Big Pussy in season 2, is because he kept picking up outside work. But that's beside the point.
No, that was actually
My
good info.
I didn't know
That's
that
nice.
about Big Pussy. That's why they
Pivot
killed
to
him off.
Sopranos pod when
there's too. It's been done, but maybe if we watch the All
the
Saints, many
movie
saints
or
have
something. Yeah.
put that.
Mm.
Um, but Michael Rispoli, what a treat! Just love to see him act on the screen.
I feel like they just said try to be a Sopranos like callback as much as possible. Like wear the jumpsuit the whole
He's
time.
kind of just a little cutie. Like he's just a
Yeah,
big
there's like this
Italian
weird
guy.
homoerotic thing going on between him and Bernie, and I was like, what is going on here?
I love you, man. You
Oh,
do you.
I love you more. And then he's like, well, I would have married you. I asked you to marry you 20 years ago, and now that you've said it, I don't know what to say. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was odd. And then
That was really fucking
he's
weird.
he's sort of his manager too.
Yes.
Bartender as well.
He's bartender at his strip mall.
Can we hit up
Um,
that part?
Yeah,
So
the strip mall
after,
thing is sick. That's like
yeah.
so Jared's future.
So he's Mr. So what's his name again? Bernie Mac's character.
Mr. 3000.
Mr. 3000. No, he has a
He's
name.
Stan
Stan
Ross.
Ross.
Stan Ross. What's his name? He said that on Jay Leno. Stan Ross. He has this whole strip mall where he calls it like Mr. 3000. He's dressed up as a leprechaun, which I thought was
Yes.
funny. But he has like a Chinese buffet, a car wash, a pet store, a bar. What else was there? Anyone else remember?
Oh, there was like a
B
beepers. Like he sold like
yeah,
beepers,
pagers.
Oh
pager.
yeah,
He
cell
had a
phone store.
barber shop. Did you say barber shop?
I don't. No, I didn't say that. But
Yeah, there's a barber shop as well.
I thought that was kind of funny because I'm trying to wonder who made that joke. Was that like Bernie Mac going to do like a Def Jam comedy thing? Like, hey, this is what like black retired athletes, just all their businesses they do. If he's doing a commentary on that,
I feel
or
like it's just like I think of famous viral videos of the time, and it was like Jones barbecue foot massage. Do you know that
Oh yeah,
video?
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like it was like almost a bit on that, but
yeah. I think it was a
but
bit
it's
on
true
all.
that like
Yeah.
sports players do get into like these weird ventures post retirement and like
Well,
Well, I have a
embarrass
business
themselves.
question, which maybe our MBA or maybe
mm.
our client-facing tech platform person can answer in
E-commerce.
ways that I cannot answer
Oh
as
boy,
a scholar. Uh, is it
train.
better to have all of those businesses in different locations or in one centralized location?
Well,
Well, it's just
So
a
on
strip
one
mall.
hand,
It's
he might be
fine to.
reducing his overhead by having it in one strip mall.
higher risk.
Higher risk,
Are
okay.
they complementary businesses?
And are people going to come, like, are you losing your populace by being in one area as opposed to dispersed?
And also, when everything's called Mr. 3000, they're not seeing a differentiation in goods or services. So they have one bad experience at one, they're going to think it's the same at all others.
It's
But it might be
true.
great SEO if we do the Tim
I mean,
Apple side of things.
he can
Mm,
take advantage of his market. He's marketing himself. He can have his own theme park there. Practically, it's his
Right,
own.
that's why I think it's Jared coded. Jared's like, oh, I want to open up a barcade at my parents' amusement park. That's so Mr. 3000 shopping mall coded.
Hmm.
it has to be complementary, man. If they're complementary, it makes sense.
But his sports bar did look great. Wouldn't you love to have some buffalo wings in there?
I like all the baseballs on the wall.
Yeah, the baseballs
Yeah,
on the wall was a nice touch.
yeah.
I would vibe with that bar if I had like a local athlete that did that.
I would love to talk a little bit about how much of like an early 2000s time capsule this is.
Yes.
especially from the sports universe.
George
So
Right,
Scott on
yes. I was loving
ESPN.
the ESPN stuff.
Oh my
all of
gosh.
the like ESPN must have really paid out the ass for this because there's
Tom
so many
Arnold.
references. There's
Or not
so many.
Tom Arnold.
There's PTI is in it. There's like
George
multiple.
Scott.
Yeah, Stuart Scott, Sports Center, like
J-
crazy amount of ESPN cameos, which is that is peak Sports Center as well, early two
Well, and
thousands.
it's interesting because what's it called? Around the Horn was just canceled, and now here was this beautiful ode to that era that's
yeah.
represented by that, you
Oh,
know?
those
I
like
know. I wish there was a little around the horn on
that
that.
4 p.m. to 6 p.m. time slot, golden.
Oh, you're so fucking right. I
God.
haven't
Absolutely.
been able to talk to my father in the same way since that went away.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
ruined
it
a
still
lot of
exists.
families.
Actually, it
No,
still
well, no Around
exists.
the Horn, and PTI sucks because they're always at distance now because Zoom
That'd be an
changed
interesting
That's
everything.
so
study.
true.
The correlation between the rise of like families structure falling apart, parents turning into extremism with the
Well, it was
MAGA movement.
COVID,
No,
but
it's not shared viewing of
Yeah.
median.
Imagine how many old dads could like not be extremist MAGA dudes if like they were still talking
wow.
to their sons about basic things like sports that could transition to be like, oh, we can
Well, because
be
PTI
neutral
is
on
like
other things.
sometimes they're not political.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Those are smart boys on that show.
they
That's the
are.
best
They
part about
really
PTI
are.
is those
Oh,
are some smart
absolutely.
fucking boys. And
I
now
like to
Stephen A. Smith
watch.
gets the massive contract.
It's
Ugh.
horrible.
Don't even get me started.
It's they're
I'm sorry, I've
totally
distracted
they're
us.
to, they're
Mid
totally
2000s
misaligned.
culture was the topic.
Tim looks like he could be like a one of those co-hosts on the McAfee show right now. The way he's dressed.
That
Honestly,
sucks.
he
That's the worst.
does. That was mean, but
No,
it's true.
it's so true with the O's hat on too.
You look like you could clean the gutters at
I did
Damn.
clean gutters this weekend. That is
the
actually really
Milwaukee
funny.
Brewers game.
You look
The
like, are
cum
you
gutters.
The cum gutters. There we go.
are you gonna be
What did
the
we think about the
sausage man?
choice of Milwaukee and the Milwaukee Brewers?
Well,
Did
I found it
And
interesting
why?
because
And
that
why?
also
y-
Milwaukee was used for another thing? I thought weren't they part of the rookie?
I don't remember, but the MLB licensing is very impressive as well because they're using their full likenesses of everything. They're using the stadiums. They're filming this stuff in the stadiums. And there
Oh,
wasn't
were
just
they?
one stadium was used. They went to the Great American Ballpark as well. So I don't know how many baseball movies take place at multiple major league stadiums. Like that's kind of crazy.
I couldn't tell if the stadium shots of crowds were real or not.
I think it was
No,
real.
no, because the top deck wasn't filled. So like
Right.
I
I mean, they
feel
don't
like
fill up the whole thing.
so like they probably brought people in as extras for it.
Absolutely.
Huh.
But they had some great attention to detail when in the first scene they're wearing the 1995 Milwaukee Brewers jerseys. And then when they go 9 years ahead, it's the updated jerseys. They were accurate to the time period. That is just such a nice touch. And real
Did you know
sports
that
heads are going to
yourself, or
get
were you
that.
told this when you were reading about it?
No, clearly I was in the 1999, 1997, whatever. Brewers logo and uniform changed over that
Oh,
time.
okay. Okay.
Brewers have a fun ballpark. I like that slide, the home run slide.
Yeah, the Great American Ballpark with the guy with the mustache,
Yeah.
the mascot. Yeah, they didn't use him. I guess they hadn't introduced him yet.
They showed him at one scene, but it wasn't like
They showed the hot dog, those big
hot dogs.
sausage
Yeah,
runners.
big. I liked how the
So,
sausage guy asked to help beat like PP time with Stan Ross.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he
that
said, my
reminded
hands.
me of our time at Oktoberfest, Jared.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I got that too.
um, so when we watched whatever the fuck that was called, the last sports movie that John picked that there was nothing to talk about.
The Last Boy
What was that
Scout.
called? The Last Boy Scout.
That was our most viewed video.
Right, so
makes you wonder, huh?
when we watched that one, all three of us were like, we loved that opening sequence. It captured this thing that we love about football, right? We all said
Mm.
this universally. And here we've said, oh, well, it captured the sports center of our youth, and we loved that, and that sort of thing. And oh, it captured the mid 2000s. But my question for you two, and specifically, I think John, as you are the real baseball fan in the
Yeah,
chat,
big
Yes.
baseball boy.
is like I watch baseball to like read or to nap, or I watch the World Series. But for you, did this movie make you feel the same way that we all felt about the Last Boy Scout and its representation of football?
I mean, That's a great question. I don't think it perfectly. It's trying to get that essence, that joie de vivre of baseball, right?
Uh-huh.
But I think it misses the mark just in the foolishness a little bit.
Say more.
Well, I don't know. Baseball movies are so different. Like I think Major League captures it so well, but that's like almost more slapstick, you know.
Yeah.
Also
It's
filmed in Milwaukee.
but I think the shots on the field, like when they're up
Hmm.
close and it's from whatever Stan. Why did I forget his name? Yeah,
Stan Ross.
Yeah.
Stan's point of view. That looks great, and I'm like, this looks like real baseball, and it's happening right now. So I think it does for the most part capture it. I think it does an okay job, but it's not as like, oh, this is sick. I think
Yeah.
other baseball movies have done better at it.
Okay. Got it. Helpful context.
I like the
Had you
beginning
seen it before?
commercial. I have.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I had never seen it.
I
but I
like
haven't seen it in
the
years.
Charles Barkley callback when he did like the Reebok commercial right at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
intro.
like the "I'm not a role model" sort of
Yeah,
thing.
that was good
No,
because that was
Stan's
still
funny.
fresh.
I like. I mean, we're jumping over the place, but I like the first scene. You know, when he's yelling at the catcher, and then he gets his 3,000 hit by just like beaming one right back at the pitcher, and
And
At
then
he
the
his
pitcher
scores.
balls.
hits him in the balls,
Yeah.
and then he throws the ball into the stands, and then Stan has to go and
Yes.
steal it back from the kid. Pretty funny stuff.
Right. So there was a problem that I had was that like once he returns, Boca gets him the speaking gig. And then once he becomes like a player again, he's packing the stadium constantly. Everyone loves him. And he's
Yeah,
like, oh, the fans, the fans, the fans, the fans. This is like part of his
yeah,
character. But in that opening sequence where they set him up, they introduce him, he's pretty antagonistic towards the fans. He doesn't give a shit about
Yeah,
that kid.
he realizes he has to rehabilitate his character.
Oh,
but
so
at the
it's
end of
the
the day, like
selfishness
fans
is the
love it.
through line, not like
Yeah,
he's
it's
always in
all
his self-interest.
correct.
And in that situation, he wants the ball, and then later he wants to be loved again.
So I Jackie Aprile had to help him out. Also, I love it that they had Jackie in that like provide a speech at the retirement ceremony of his number, and he's still just in the jumpsuit.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
He's like, he did a lot of hits. He's sort of like, he was good. He was a little Trumpish. And
Mm,
then there was another guy speaking for him at that event who was like some middle reliever from like the 70s. And he had nothing good to say about him either. So it's obvious he wasn't a good teammate.
right.
I wouldn't want to be
That's kind of the
teammates with
big
Stan.
point is he's a bad teammate. I
Do
just
we
thought his
think
love
by
for the fans seemed weird after he was so fucked up to that kid. Which was
well, he
anyone
loves
thinking
to be
about
a
the Otani ball situation?
yeah, it's sort of
Remember that?
Otani-esque.
Yeah.
But think of how many like players who are like dicks to fans that the fans will still always love because they brought them some relevance or success. Like think of the Brewers are an irrelevant franchise for the most part. And like if this person was real, just like oh, you think of Cal Ripken. Imagine if Cal Ripken like dropped the hard R or something like that, which I'm sure he did on many occasions.
Fuck, that is a
And
crazy accusation.
like Baltimore's still gonna love him and actually probably praise him more for something like that.
No, 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 no. Absolutely not. That's a crazy thing to say.
You know who also is a Mr.
That's gonna
3000
be the short.
and he
Cal Ripken said what?
you know who also is a Mr. 3000 and ended his career after a 3000 hit?
Miguel Cabrera. Oh, Pete Rose.
No. Pete Rose, no, he has like 5,000 hits plus.
George
Yeah,
Foreman?
he still has 3,000 hit
Close to
club.
George Floorman, kind of.
3,000
Miguel
hits.
Cabrera.
Pittsburgh legend.
Oh, Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, he ended his career after 3,000 hits.
Really?
After he took a fucking dip in the pond going to Vieques, Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Yeah, isn't that kind
Wait, I
of
didn't know
crazy?
that happened that close in timing.
Yeah, that
Interesting.
plane crash happened. I don't know how far.
He was like at the peak of his career when he died.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's so sad.
Very
Hmm.
sad. The
He probably
Pirates,
would have gotten canceled if he was alive, though. Still, so
him and Cal would probably be sitting in
Both dropping the hard R.
no, you can't say that about Kyle, honestly. And so you're gonna have to revoke that. But I
Okay.
think the main point is like fans, and this is true. I think it was true of the early 2000s of athletes who were very braggadocious. Like I think of a Terrell Owens like doing
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
sit ups in his driveway. Like
I miss
Yep.
that
that.
was it was definitely a sort of attitude that prominent players had. But people didn't care because like, oh, they perform on the field. Fans still loved them, even though they were hot dogs. I think there's
Well,
almost
some
less.
fans, some of us are classy individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right.
I've been a
But
T.O. hater, a Deion Sanders hater my whole life.
but the homogenous group of fans, they'll still cheer if he scores a touchdown or if he hits a home run.
Yeah, yeah. If he's your team.
Because you
Of
view it as a
course,
team success.
absolutely. But I can't think of baseball really having players like
Barry
that.
Bonds.
Yeah. Also a pirate.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
A-Rod.
A-Rod, I hated A-Rod. Yes, that's
But
an
A-Rod
example.
wasn't really like a douchebag. I
Did
mean, he was a douchebag, but he wasn't braggadocious. Like I'm the king of the like. That doesn't really exist in baseball because there's so
Albert
much.
Bell.
It's just funny because there's so much failure in baseball. Like if you're the
Well,
best player in the world, you're only getting a hit like two, three times out of every 10, right? Like you have to be used to failure. So it's really hard to be like, I'm the greatest, like I'm the GOAT when you strike out six times out of
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
10.
Well, and there's also my understanding is that there's a bigger, what is that word? Like code of chivalry or something in baseball compared to
The
other sports.
unwritten
Like there's
rules,
unwritten rules, right? Yeah. And so like maybe that's part of why is like there's the self-policing of things. But it's interesting because that's going away in a lot of ways nowadays. And so I wonder if we're
right?
going to
Because
start seeing
they
more of
want,
this.
they want, they want players to be more hot
Star
doggy
power.
on the field.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it gets more views on your little Instagram reel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of interesting, but his teammates don't like him. And his teammates don't like him on his old team, and they also are a little skeptical once he joins back 9 years later.
Well, because he's
Like
an
we
old
should,
ass man. They give him the walker, which was a
right?
weird
I
They
like
thing,
give
but
that. That was funny.
they give him a walker, and then what did we think of some of these side teammates? How about the Japanese guy who didn't know how to
They
that one
curse?
was funny
always
actually. I liked that.
the classic baseball trope in a comedy film: the foreign player who struggles to speak
Yeah.
slang.
Do you think he was actually like Japanese? I was like,
Dude,
this is a
half the
Mexican
time,
dude.
yeah, I thought so too. Wait, we need to find out who that was casted as that because that was
Fukada or whatever his name was.
Yeah, you have to search that.
Ian Anthony Dell. Oh, he's
That
in
does not
Interesting.
sound very
Hawaii.
Japanese.
He was in Hawaii Five O.
Okay, he's
Oh,
Hawaiian.
He
That'll
grew
give
up.
him a little bit. That'll give
Okay,
him
he
a bit.
grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota.
So savvy.
It does not say anything. Oh, his mother is Japanese.
oh, he's a
Okay.
Asian.
His dad is Jack Dale, who played ice hockey and was in the 1968 Winter Olympics. Wow, what a successful family!
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
it's sort of what's that movie that just was at the Oscars?
Amelia Perez.
Amelia Perez. It's sort of like an Amelia Perez situation,
What?
representing
He's
Japanese people.
transracialist. Oh,
Yeah, it's like a transracialist sort of thing.
Rachel
Anyway,
Dolezal.
and then there were a couple other teammates. There are the two guys who are bickering. They're always doing
Yeah,
competitions. They're always
that bit
fighting.
did not work for me. I hated that bit.
Very
Hated it.
cartoonish.
Horrible.
Yeah,
Horrible.
like not even slightly funny.
I was like, can somebody designate one of these guys for assignment so we can get them out of this team?
Yeah, split them up.
And
And
they were
then,
And then there's the young hot guy, the stud,
Pennebaker.
oh yeah, T Rex.
T-Rex. And then that's it. That's
Who's
kind of it for the new teammates that are important, right?
Yeah, they really weren't focused on it,
There's
but
the white hick guy.
Evan Jones, the catcher.
Yeah. Is that the guy? That's the guy who's like talking to him when they first start or something.
right,
Yeah.
he's the one who's like, I'm here for exposition and give you
He
details about the
that's Cheddar
players.
Bob. That's Cheddar Bob.
Oh,
Who's
really?
Cheddar Bob?
Shoots
Yeah.
himself from 8 Mile?
Yes. That's Cheddar Bob.
That's legendary. I forgot.
Yeah, it took me forever to figure that out.
Dan doesn't even know because he doesn't know about the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Parents won't let him listen to Eminem.
So true.
So I guess the main there's a first half of the movie when he's figuring shit out. He gets onto the team, and then the goals of the film sort of change. And this is where Stan has his.
Can we pause real quick? How they
Sure,
take
sure.
away his Mister 3000 title is there's this a clerical error that they miscounted his
Which
hits.
yes, that's a good point. It doesn't make any sense really at all
It kind of
because
does,
But are you
it
really going to
doesn't.
do this? This is like them taking Reggie Bush's like Heisman trophies away. Like what the fuck, people?
but they did do that.
Yeah, but that one makes more sense. This doesn't make sense from
No, it
like a
doesn't.
statistic. This one doesn't.
Reggie
Well,
Bush
the
deserves
Reggie.
his Heisman.
No, of course he deserves it, but he broke the rule by accepting money that probably everybody was doing, but he just got caught with it.
This is a pro Reggie Bush podcast.
Of course it is. Yeah, I mean, 2005 USC's greatest
In fact, he
college
should be the
football
next
team
pope.
with Kim
Perhaps.
Kardashian as Mrs.
With Kim
Pope.
Kardashian. They rekindle their love after many
Can the
years
Pope
or
have a
whatever it's
wife?
been.
Can the
The
Pope have a wife?
the Pope
No, the
cannot
Pope
have a
cannot have
wife.
a wife.
Priest
That
can't have a
sucks.
wife.
That's why what's his face is so sad right now.
Pope Francis?
Did you hear the audio of him?
Who? No. Was
He's
it
like,
AI?
he's speaking in Latin. It's like, bro, speak a little English. It's like, you can barely
I
hear
don't know
you.
if his
No
English
one,
is very good.
like, nobody knows what he's saying. Anyway,
Yeah, where were
um,
we?
so the statistical thing,
Oh
they're
yeah,
saying that there was a game in the late '80s in which there was a rain delay, so he got 2 hits then, and then they
3 hits then.
finished they
Three,
got
and
three
then
hits then, and then they counted another 3 hits when they wrapped it up
it was a
again.
continuation game, which makes
That's not
sense. I can see how that could
I think I
happen.
can see that happening.
no, because they only put in one box score for one each game, so they would have had to have given another win to them as well. It's just not. It doesn't make any sense.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
There's a
I
lot of
did
games in
like the
baseball.
number though because this is going to be a major dox, but YOLO. So that makes him 3 hits short, which makes him Mr. 2997. Which, when you
Okay.
put my birthday into a form without the 19 in front, it's February 9th, 1997, 2997.
Yeah, that's just way too
So
much
I'm
of
gonna get
a.
like a gold chain that says Mr. 2997.
That would be
Okay.
sick.
That would
So
be fucking sick.
that is Danny's debit card pin, by the way, as well.
It's not my, no,
It it,
I'm
it
not
is
an
kind of
idiot.
cool, also that it's not just one hit. For some reason, it's better that it's three.
Yes,
Yeah, it makes a
100%.
story to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So they make it as this whole thing, like, okay, the Brewers are in fifth place. He's going to come back onto the team, and it'll add some, people in the seats because they want to see him again. That's what the
Makes sense.
ownership's thinking, right?
Right, they just
So,
want money.
but the team's in fifth place. They want to be in the playoffs. They want to get
Right,
in
so,
third place.
yeah, okay. And they make the playoffs at the end. That's what happens.
No, they
They do,
don't.
but
No, they don't. They just get third place. That's all that it is.
yeah, they don't. Well, they don't.
There is no reason to get third fucking place in this team
Well,
for this.
maybe they're in the playoffs, but we don't
No,
know that
now
unless they're talking
playoffs were
about
not
third.
mentioned once.
Huh?
They were not mentioned once because that's what they're saying is like, oh,
Yeah,
this
playoffs
is
were
his
never
last
mentioned.
shot.
So then I was like, why are they giving a shit?
Yeah, it's
Imagine like
actually
an
worse.
NFL team doing this, like,
Well,
hey, we're
honestly,
gonna.
that's kind of what the Steelers do every year. Oh, we can get third place. Sorry, I'm gonna kill myself. It's fine. Moving on.
um, but yeah, so there's sort of two goals, but the team does rally around that idea of they want to get third. I assumed they were going to the playoffs, but Stan didn't care after that fact once the thing happened.
Yeah, because then I was like, oh my God, they got third place. Oh my God, the big reveal. And I was like, okay, now you can get the hit in the playoffs. Like, who gives a shit?
Nope.
Yeah. There is that scene where we talked about earlier, the montage of him getting back in shape, which is probably the funniest part of
It's
the
absolutely the
movie.
funniest.
He's struggling to do like 3 push-ups,
Uh
Oh
huh.
yeah, that's good.
And then he's doing the
and then
Pilates.
he's doing crazy Pilates where like it's only his feet are in the air.
Yeah, dude, the Pilates scenes were the best of those, but I was loving it.
No, and it's like they should have done more like really Three Stooges slapstick. Like I feel like that would have been a lot. It would have been a lot stronger because it's funny seeing Bernie in all these funny situations and him being scared.
Yeah, like that was literally one of the like I swear to God, like 4 times I chuckled out loud, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
I was entertained throughout though.
It
It
was
was a
more of
fun
a
movie.
romance than a comedy, honestly.
Soundtrack was killer. Soundtrack was
Well,
very
that's
good.
another thing too. There's so many needle drops. It's almost like how much budget was behind the music rights because they have every
Earth,
huge.
Wind, and Fire, Cool in the Gang, Marvin Gaye,
Yeah, it's just too many. By the
Ike and Tina Turner, James Brown.
YMCA is in this.
Mm.
I mean, Trump song. But Daniel, you did mention that it's a love movie. We kind of do get into the points where he's talking about, he's fallen in love with her and
Who
with the
couldn't? You know what
reporter.
I mean?
Right. I mean, he's really enjoying himself, but he starts falling for her seriously. He doesn't want one night stands. He wants a serious relationship with this lady.
But he does say that it is so good and it's the best he's ever had. So
And
what
she
you
says that too. She says that right back to him.
But I liked it describing. Let's talk about this. The part where he's like, "I love having sex with you," and then he's
Oh
like
yeah.
describing cuddling and talking afterwards and hanging out. I was like, I want to hug him so bad. I was like, I feel the exact same way. I was like, I loved that shit. It was beautiful. Like,
The
I don't
pessim
know.
yeah.
I say this to my girlfriend all the time. I'm like, I just want to fuck you so that we can cuddle afterwards.
Oh, that's nice.
You know what I mean? You guys aren't this
Mm.
way. You guys just want to bust the nut in the cum gutters.
No, I
We're
think that
very
is
fishy.
no, that's an odd, admirable thing. I
I thought
think
it was
that's very sweet.
beautiful.
At the time when the first time he said it, I thought he was just saying it.
I thought so too. I thought it was just to like seduce. Because he's trying to get her drunk. He's trying to like loosen her up.
But then it was clear that he really does. He loves hanging out with her, so it's very sweet.
Yeah.
But
That
that's
dancing scene, I was like, sheesh.
So I take this love story as this is when movies in the early 2000s, these like comedies, were trying to draw every audience and not just like be a straight up like
well,
very
right. I
gross
mean,
comedy or like a
you
very
would
dumb straightforward comedy.
yeah, you'd watch this in the theater, so it sort of needs to
Oh, I'm gonna
be
bring the lady
interesting.
with me.
Yeah,
And
you
I,
take your girlfriend to this; they have to enjoy it somehow.
I can bring the 10-year-old kid to this because it's not that raunchy of a comedy.
yeah, it's
Right?
only
They're talking.
language, right? There's no
Yeah,
sex.
yeah, it's PG-13 film.
Yeah.
Another similar movie that I thought was very close to this in like the way it's paced and the way like characters are introduced. You ever see
Not when he's
Chris
talking about
Rock's?
pacing.
You ever see Chris Rock's Head of State where he like runs for president?
I have
No,
not seen that.
It's very came out the same year I think, and it's very very similar. A Def Jam
right?
comedy guy coming in and do you guys ever watch Jam comedy when like
Yeah,
Cedric the
I mean,
Entertainer?
I've seen the Kings of Comedy. It's
Yeah,
legendary.
I love the Kings of Comedy.
Steve Harvey, the goat.
Cedric,
But speaking of Steve Harvey, Bernie's wearing some very nice suits throughout the
dude,
What
film.
was up with the
War.
hemline on the jackets, though? Why were they so long?
That was the style.
Mm-hmm.
You've
I
seen the
couldn't tell if it was like to make
2004.
him look less fat or.
No, haven't you seen the 2004 NBA draft
Wait,
picture
and
where it's
who is
all the
the owner
players?
of the team? We need to talk about that casting choice as well.
The white
Oh,
dude. Well, I
He's
don't know if he
famous
was
as
the owner.
fuck.
Chris Noth.
Oh, that's what it is. It's the guy from
That's
Sex
Mr.
and the City.
Yeah,
It's Mr.
yeah,
Big.
Oh, it's
Mr.
Mr.
Big is the
Big.
owner. How
yeah,
did we
Rest in
skip
peace.
over that? That's a huge deal.
Rest
yeah.
in peace, Mr. Big.
Oh my, I forgot about when Mr. Big stood up Sam at her wedding.
He died on that Peloton, though.
Yeah, he
Or
died on
Carrie.
the
Yeah, Carrie
Peloton.
Knight. Yeah, gosh. Bastards.
So what else can we talk about with this film? There's a lot of sex scenes. There's
Oh,
some bad baseball scenes where
I thought the baseball scenes weren't bad. Uniforms looked good, as you mentioned, and like the
no, I
players
mean, I
didn't
think
look like extras playing baseball. They actually looked like guys who kind of knew how to throw a ball half
But like
decent.
the double play one, I was like, this looks terrible.
what the hidden ball trick.
That
No, but
wasn't a
that
double
we should
play.
talk about that. Yeah.
Would
But
that
there
The
was
be
a
hidden
moment
ball
where
trick.
double play happens when they're like
No, the
starting
double
the
play looked
rally.
cool.
You thought it looked cool?
were they playing the Reds?
First of all,
Yeah,
the
that was a
Guardians
great. Yeah, when they
nowadays.
played the Reds and they got a double. When they were playing the Reds and got the double play, yeah, that was cool.
I paid attention to
Okay,
what
I
teams
didn't
they were
love it.
playing. The Giants, the Braves, the Reds. Who else they play?
Red Sox in the first scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did get this good picture when I watched the film. Oh, I wish I could. Here, can I show it? Look at his
Wow. People are gonna
eyes.
love this. The viewers at home are loving this.
His eyes don't face the front always. This is just a funny Bernie Mac thing. I like paused it at one point to get a snack, and
Did you watch the Bernie Mac show?
I did. I did because it was on the CW and it was before The Simpsons and Family Guy at like 7 p.m. So I'd do like a little before The Simpsons. I'd do a little Bernie Mac. This is pretty good. And there was some.
You dabble around with it before your mom Paul told you to get that man off the TV.
What are you watching?
They started saying the Cal Ripken word.
That's
No,
how we'll start calling it the Cal Ripken word.
that show's great though. That show was really great.
Who do you think is a bigger hero / also villain of the world, Cal Ripken or Ray Lewis?
Honestly, like Cal has done worse for Maryland in general through his poor investments than Ray has. So if we think about a societal difference, I
Do you think
think
his body count's higher?
no Ray.
In terms of
First off,
murder or
Ray Lewis hasn't.
sex?
Neither have killed anyone, and and I don't know about their sexual proclivities.
That's a good question. Who do you think does have the higher bedtime body count?
Ray Lewis.
But you know the famous story of
Cal Ripken does have longevity.
Cal Ripken slept with who's
Billie Eilish?
Who's You Will Build
Your
It, They Will
mom.
Come? Who's the guy?
What?
Kevin
He slept with a
Costner?
man?
No. He didn't sleep with Kevin Costner, but he slept with Kevin Costner's wife in the 90s. And it was this whole thing. And Kevin Costner like came to his house and beat him up. And this is during
No.
Cal's streak.
No.
And so it was like a really close, it was in the 90s. So he already had a huge streak. And they somehow they had the game canceled by MLB because he was injured. There's some crazy story about
That's
it. There's like a
crazy.
whole.
Yeah. That feels like it shouldn't count. That feels like he should be back to 2997.
Well,
Yeah.
there actually is a full podcast on it, like 10 episodes, which is really
No
good.
way. And you listened?
And I'm probably butchering it, but I've listened. There's an article I read about it, but
Got
apparently
it.
the
Got it.
podcast is good.
Not as
Ooh.
good as this one, am I right?
I mean, this one's great. Not many people are diving in like we are. Let's talk about the Jay Leno scene. Can we talk about that?
Sure.
I like the
Who's the
Jay Leno
woman?
scene. Paula
I
Abdul.
was going to ask that. Was that Carmen
Oh,
Electra?
I thought
Who
that
was
was
it?
Paula Abdul.
That was not Paula Abdul.
I believe Jared, but I have no
Paula
idea.
Abdul, Mr. 3000.
It might have been. I thought it was Fergie.
Okay, maybe not.
Fergalicious stuff.
But
Fergalicious.
it's at this point of the film, Stan's getting his mojo back. Like he's starting to. Oh, he's getting the allure of the spotlight.
Yeah, he gets distracted from his goal.
Right, of
He gets
get with the
distracted from his goal.
girl
He
and
gets
getting this
distracted
hit.
from the team. He like shows growth, and then he goes
He fumbles it
backwards.
immediately, and
Yeah.
which made me think, I'm like, is he even showing character growth if he's gonna fumble it this bad?
Yeah, I got actually started to get pretty angry with the character at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
I was rooting for him.
there's the ultimate redemption at the end, though. When he hits
Yes,
into,
but it
he does
feels
the
almost like
ultimate
he has to do
sacrifice.
that because of his past transgressions.
So
Mm-hmm.
I got a question for the trained philosopher. Because I was thinking about this. Do we ever really change? And this goes back to Nietzsche's
I
will to
think that
power.
What?
Oh, he's
What?
not. I thought he was going to try to mess with me on how I was saying Nietzsche.
Yeah, I mean, it was wrong, but
I know.
I
I
don't see
wanted
the
to hear
connection. I don't think
will to
so.
power. Think about the idea of like you're reinventing yourself. So
Right.
he's trying to prove that he's a different man through his romantic adventures, that he's changed, but the moment it comes about, he reverts back to who his true character is. And
Yeah.
do we think when at the end when he bunts, does he actually ever really change, or is he actually always going to have that little chip on his shoulder wishing he was really Mr. 3000.
Yeah,
I
I don't
think,
know.
therefore, I am Mr. 3000.
Um, yeah, I
You
don't
don't
know.
get the
I
you don't get
think
the
I
will to
think
power
people do
call.
change, number one, but I also think that people have a proclivity to stay the same, and I think that sort of the question that makes you choose between one and the other is a misleading one.
Mm.
So he definitely has changed, but yeah, some of his traits remain
I think it took him
for sure.
until seeing like that his team rooting for him after the bunt is what really got him
I do
to.
think like you could say that he's selfish the entire time, and like he
Yeah.
does that in order to like boost his image, get the girl, feel better about himself. It's hard to
So
know the motivations of another person. All you can go off is based off actions,
yeah,
you know?
and it's crazy. All it seemed that this accomplishes, he opened up an ice cream truck after getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but he seems
Well, hold
happy
on.
there. So that is actually the moment where maybe I feel something has occurred, is
Oh, we
after
forgot to
this.
talk about that with the ice cream truck. Maybe the cringiest scene is when they're all on the bench and the
I'm
two
from
players.
Philadelphia, Fairmont Park. We call it Fairmount, by the way.
I mean, yeah, stuff like that. And then he's whistling the ice cream song and like telling the story.
But were you thinking about Curb during that?
No, why? What?
The episode of Curb where the Mr. Softy truck gives
Oh,
Larry erectile dysfunction, which is
Oh
interesting
yeah,
because then there's the Viagra ad in this movie.
that's funny.
interesting.
Ooh, I wonder if some of those writers were together on the same show.
They just can't stop writing about that
And
stuff.
that'd be funny to think that there's Curb writers also in Mr. 3000's writer room.
I don't know if it's that surprising, honestly.
Yeah, small town.
Hollywood or Milwaukee?
Both. I like
Um,
Milwaukee. Milwaukee's a good town.
we did talk. Apparently, Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin, are just beautiful places to live.
I wouldn't say it's beautiful, but it's a cool town. There's plenty to do in Milwaukee.
People
Well,
really like
anyway,
Minneapolis and St. Paul.
well, no, I don't go there after what they did to Target. Um, anyway, um,
That's
I like to
good.
talk about that sacrifice bunt because it's so emotional after um,
They're all
he comes up
cheering
with
and he
great.
doesn't know what to do with himself.
He's like really crying. He's very emotional. Bernie's acting his ass off. I
Yeah,
mean,
I believed it. I believe he was truly upset.
and he must
I
have
mean,
thought
that
this is
must
so.
that imagine like I don't even know what that equivalent moment would be for us. Like we haven't like you know what I
No,
mean?
I'll tell you. We go on a live tour of our podcast, and we tell somebody tells a joke, and it lands so big that you start crying because it's such a hit. You
Is that
know.
what you thought your
No,
target
I mean
joke
the
was?
moment of not realizing the goal that you've
Oh,
defined
and
your
then
life by.
figuring out what it's all about
Yeah.
right
Hmm.
there.
And maybe that's what the
In
ice
that
cream
way, it's
scene's
kind of
supposed to
another
be.
round moment in some ways.
I think
Ooh,
it's when you see it's something like with children, probably. You know, you see your kid ride a bike for the first time, and you're like,
that's what I think. I think
You're
that's
like,
what he
that's
needs.
why I gave up the army to sell booms.
Sell booms.
right.
That's. I think Stan Ross. That's what he needs. He needs a baby boy to play baseball.
He's sort of grooming a baby boy at the end by playing ice cream to him in center field
Yeah,
by the
that
end.
was a little like, and also like, imagine playing baseball and hearing the ice cream truck song over and over and over again. I'd hate that shit. And they were like fondly remembering that.
Also, that park didn't have many potential customers for him. Not a great like place
Well,
to
he
Also,
doesn't
set
care
since when
about
set
the
has
up.
Good
business.
Humor had a goddamn ice cream truck?
Was it a good
Like all
humor?
of it was like so weird. It was so
Did Good
weird.
Humor pay for a product placement for that? You
Yeah,
think?
probably. And so did Mr. Softy, maybe.
Yeah. What
There
other
is a ton of product placement.
EA
Like
Sports,
MLB,
Reebok?
EA Sports was in there. ESPN, I guess, paid for that.
Reebok.
Uh, It was not a Mr. Wait, what are you guys saying? Good humor? I'm looking at it right now. It doesn't say good humor anywhere.
No,
I never saw a good
that's
humor.
what T-Rex says. He says, "No, we didn't
Oh,
have Mr. Softy on in Philadelphia. I was in Fairmount Park, which is called Fairmount Park." Once again, I'm
No,
going to
he.
repeat that.
Oh
he
God.
just said that.
Oh my
I'm going to
God.
repeat it though because and then he's like, "There's a good humor truck," and it's like, well, good humor doesn't have trucks, you know?
Maybe they
Okay.
did. But then it is revealed that he is the last shot is that he's in a Viagra commercial, which is a
Yes.
callback to earlier when he had a sponsorship opportunity, which is a weird bit to end on.
And the
I thought it
girl
was
is
funny.
in that
Yeah, she
Right.
commercial.
Why
I
looked
was
wouldn't
good.
if you're
She looked good though.
dude, she looked good the whole time.
I think Kevin Costner's wife was in an ad like that with Cal Ripken, and that's what got him upset.
it's more of like a Jim Palmer thing.
Mm.
Those that know. Which Jim Palmer actually did get
That joke
mentioned
was for
because
you, Todd. We love you, buddy. Thank you for the comments.
he's not going to know that. He doesn't know that.
Oh, I thought it was an Orioles joke, and I thought it was going to be
Yeah, but
for
he doesn't
Todd.
know. He doesn't know the
All right,
lore. He
shout
doesn't
out
know
to
the lore.
whatever other Baltimore on it was. Fuck you, asshole. And Cal Ripken was a racist.
That's a crazy fucking thing to say.
Dude, but you know what he is? He's an adulteress.
I mean,
Adulterer.
for sure, if you were Mr. Baseball in the glory days of the 90s, you wouldn't milk that in. Good God. Let the man live. Anyway,
Who else are just
that's the
harboring in
film.
that town?
I think that's the most of the film. Those are the points I wanted to get across. Did anybody else have any scenes I forgot or favorite moments? Or how about what was your favorite moment and your least favorite moment? Let's
Oh
have
Ooh,
Jared
God.
go first.
my least favorite moment was probably with the two feuding guys who were they twins or they just look very similar? Was that
They
like
just look similar, I think.
yeah, they looked way too similar, and I'm like, they should have said they're brothers, like,
Yeah.
yeah. But when they're like memorizing the baseball card stats in the dugout,
Oh, that was horrible.
that was so dumb. I'm like, these grown men aren't doing this. Like, if they were that obsessed with him before, they would have like been all about him when he showed up at the clubhouse the first
Yeah,
time.
100%.
Also, the fact like no one in the clubhouse wanted to like accept him as like a new team member right off the bat, I thought was kind of silly as well.
Well, he's old as
Uh,
fuck. They thought, oh, now we're going to lose.
yeah, but they're already
Mm.
shitty. My favorite moment though is very much when he hits his home run because it made me really think of like when Satchel Paige came back when he was like 56 and like was
In
a
like
hell
1920?
no in like the 1950s, but yeah, well he did pitch like in the 20s and 30s as well, John. But
Yeah, but why does that remind you of that? It's not like you saw that.
no, but I'm like thinking of like the story of like they like said, oh, 47-year-old man is the oldest ever hit a home run in the
Oh, right,
MLB.
yeah.
Satchel Paige was the oldest ever like pitch a few successful innings or whatever, record a
Right.
win.
Strike out someone.
And it just shows the longevity of the game. And
Absolutely.
as we see LeBron tearing it up right now at age 40,
Yeah, I was going to bring up LeBron and Tom Brady.
pretty impressive. Like, does the game ever truly leave some of these people? And maybe I think he discounted himself for what his contribution to the game was or could have been. That's what I have.
Interesting. Those are good moments.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Danny,
the
what
home
about you?
run
What was
thing, maybe we talk about that a little bit. So we didn't really talk about the outcome of his return, which is he gets the first hit,
On a
right?
broken
Oh yeah.
bat.
On a
He gets
broken
his
bat, and
first
he
hit
hustles.
on a
He
broken
hustles.
right. Yeah, and he dives into first, which he
Yes,
shouldn't
he
do.
eats that dirt. That's the first hit. Second hit, he could hit a sac fly and win the game or something like this, but instead he homers. That's the situation, right?
No, the last
No, that was the second hit, I'm saying.
oh yeah.
They're like, oh, just the infield comes in. They're like, oh, just hit a fly ball, and he hits a homer, and we're like, woo! That's the moment Jared just referred to. And then the third one is in the final game of the season. That's when he bunts and gets out and
Yeah,
sacrifices
absolutely.
himself. Okay. Just wanted to get clear for that for the viewers, so I'm sure we're very invested in this.
Well, he doesn't get that third hit though, so.
Right, because it's an out.
But he still gets in the Hall of Fame. We should say that he does get in the Hall of Fame. So it was sort of all for
Right.
bullshit. Like he was going to get in anyway.
Well, yeah, if it weren't for his antagonistic relationship with the sports writers of America.
Which is also, that's the thing they talk about with the Baseball Hall of Fame is that it is so political, and you really just have to have a good relationship with
Rapport.
those fucking sports writers who think they are the voice of God, which is why Pete Rose, Cincinnati legend, is not in the Hall of Fame right now, and that's why Trump is going to push for Pete Rose to be added, because he is a true American and
That's
deserves
why
to be.
Ichiro didn't get a unanimous vote.
That's crazy. He should have. Another member of the 3,000 Hit Club. So it's good we cleared that up. Danny, what was your least favorite moment, your favorite moment?
Least favorite moment was when, after the big bunt, they say, if that what the voiceover comes in, if that wasn't cheesy enough for you, and then they do the here's what happened afterwards thing. I
Yeah,
hated that they acknowledged that it was cheesy. I was like, let me just watch this movie and feel too much emotion for a sports comedy, and don't call me out on it. Like, let me live. Like, let me be emotional about the fact that he just sack
right.
bunted, and fuck off. Don't do a voiceover and try to be cute about it. Don't
Mm,
you know. It was
uh,
not. They're like, now we're gonna be ironic instead of being earnest, and I hate that move. I hate that
yeah,
move.
absolutely.
That was my least
Jared,
favorite
wake up.
moment.
Hmm.
Wake up.
And then
No,
my
I'm awake.
favorite moment was. It's actually a hard question. Maybe I really like the shot of him eating the boxes of Chinese food, and
Mm.
he's watching the people on TV talk shit about him, and then like he's eating Chinese food by himself in his big ass apartment, and then like they show the people that are on TV as if they are sitting on his couch with him talking shit to his face as he's
Oh
eating
yeah,
the
that is
Chinese.
cool. That
I
that was
liked that.
cool.
I liked that a lot.
Do you have those
But
conversations when you're eating Chinese in your living room?
I didn't really do takeout that often, but
Mm.
and I don't know who my haters are other than you two. So I guess the best analog is this
You don't have
podcast.
that. You don't have those schizophrenic moments.
No, no, thank God. Put down the acid just in time.
that's nice.
How about
Those are
you,
good
Tim? Your
moments.
least favorite and favorite moments?
My least favorite was definitely anything with those two guys who look the same. Anytime they spoke, those
Yeah.
teammates. Didn't like
What?
them. I think my
Why?
favorite.
Because
Why?
Their English wasn't good. Is that why?
No, because they just weren't funny. It was just horribly cringe. And when the stories about the ice cream was horrible, and the whistling is so
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
My favorite was the montage of all the sports broadcasters. Larry King is in there too.
Uh-huh.
I
Mm.
like the cameos that are big, point at the screen and go, "Ooh, I like that." And Michael Wilbon wearing his old glasses, and I'm like, man, I just want to watch PTI right now.
Yeah, I was so nostalgic for that PTI.
Um, and I
That's
Cool.
a
also loved
shame.
Mike. I also
Then.
liked Michael Rispoli.
Mm.
Yeah, of course you did.
What were you gonna say, Jared?
PTI would do great on YouTube Shorts right now.
I'm
No, it
sure they're
wouldn't because
doing
it's
that.
it's one of the last like long
Extended
form
Yeah,
sports talk.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
but it's
all their
always
things
split up
are
into like 2 minute segments,
yeah.
Oh,
one minute,
that's
But
30
true.
seconds.
it's designed as a YouTube short show. If you think
I know.
about it,
Why haven't they done that?
they're golden opportunity missed right there.
The best part of that show is at the end when they just say some crazy shit. They like final thoughts and they like say a bunch of shit. I love that
No,
part.
I like it around the horn when they actually award a winner
Yes, and they're
and
just like blah 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 blah. I love that part too.
going
Yeah,
on.
rest in
It
Who's your
peace,
feels
Woody
like an
favorite?
Hayden.
Oscars.
Who's your favorite around the horn?
Woody
J.A. Adande.
Page.
Woody
Oh,
Page. Woody Page is the correct answer.
Dude, there's
Woody
like a
Page.
Woody Page thing that he wrote on his chalkboard one time that I still quote all the time. He wrote like he wrote like money doesn't buy you happiness, but I'd rather cry in a private jet. And that was on his chalkboard one day. I say that like at
Sick.
least once a year. Like that's such a good
So
line.
sick.
So sick.
Um, yeah,
Bomani
he was
Jones, did you say that, Jared?
I said
What was
J.A.
your answer?
Adande.
Jay
AJ
Donde's
Don?
good.
Yeah, good answer. I like
He had
Bomani.
It's
some
like
good things. Yeah.
Tim Calishaw, I think was
Yeah,
one of the
Tim
guys.
Calishaw.
There was
Who
some
else?
I hated Jay Mariotti. He was such a fucking prick.
I can't even
I'm
remember what he
looking
looks like right now.
I'm
He
looking
was
up
like the
the.
Miami sports writer.
Oh yeah, yeah. Miami sports writers are always like
He kind of
annoying as
looked like
fuck.
Jared, actually. Jay Mariotti kind of looked like Jared.
I gotta pull him up.
I've
Fuck.
got to Google. I have to Google him.
Bob Ryan.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I liked him a little bit.
Israel Gutierrez. He was underrated. He came towards the end, and same Kevin Blackenstone.
Oh, Kevin Blackiston.
That's his name.
Jay Mariotti. Ooh,
Does this guy not look like Jared? Kind of.
I'm trying to pull him up right now. Oh
Oh,
yeah, he was not that notable to me, but and I don't think he looks that much like Jared other than the uneven eye situation.
dude, I am noticing that a lot. I thought I was having an inflammation thing, but I think this is just my face.
That happened on the podcast. You thought you were having a stroke
Oh yeah.
during boiling point. Well, I
Oh,
think
I kind of liked Jackie McMullen.
I like Jackie Nicole, and Jameel Hill deserves a shout out. She's good on it.
Only a shout out.
Woody
But
Page, goat.
it is a
Oh, Bill Plaschke.
sadness. Oh, Bill Plaschke's great. Boston
Yeah.
Globe though, he's too Boston-y. Anyways, that's the film.
We're gonna give ratings.
Let's give some ratings. Who wants to go first?
Well, since I am still, I don't have any draft picks because I gave away my picks. I could.
Yeah.
He's
How's
got
that? How are you
Miles
feeling
Garrett.
about that?
Got
Are
Miles
you?
Garrett,
He's
Kenny
got
Pickett.
Deshaun. He's got Kenny Pickett.
Such a
Yeah,
bad
Mamma Mia
order.
2 was Kenny Pickett. So
That yeah, I didn't know until today we also gave a 5th-round pick for that Kenny Pickett trade, which
Well, he's gonna be your starting QB, bro.
yeah, I guess so. All right, so soundtrack boosted up a whole point for this.
wow.
I really like that. Runtime was very considerate of my time. It knew what it was. I'm not too
He always says this.
and knew what it was. This movie was made in a time period where they're not trying to create things that are like reaching beyond the stars. Box office bomb, which is okay. Really,
Was it really? Yeah, it
yeah,
had to be.
really like the opportunity that Bernie Mac had just because John Travolta walked away from this. Yeah. And I wish there was more Bernie Mac main protagonist films that existed during this time period. In the short time we had the gift of Bernie Mac in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah, rest in
So
peace, apparently.
Bernie Mac's performance gets at a point, and I will give the
It's getting up there right now.
Yeah, I'll give the appropriateness of how the movie was executed for just something that they're like, hey, let's just put something in the theaters for springtime, draw some people to seats, and put some good trailers in it as well. I gets a half point. So I'm gonna give it a 2.5. Not great, but I'm happy I watched it. I haven't seen this movie in probably 20 years, and it's a good movie. If I had if I was a baseball coach or a sports coach and I had to put a DVD on a bus ride across the state to another
Yeah,
place, put
100%. That's a
Mr.
good answer.
3000 on the bus.
Yeah.
So that's your third 2.5 you've given. Do you remember your other 2.5s?
No.
Boiling
I
Point
do.
and Flintstones. You gave two. Nice. Danny, you want to go? Or do you want me? Should I go? I should.
You go because I'll make the announcement of the next and send this out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like Bernie Mac a lot, and I agree with Jared. I wish he had more opportunities to shine. I don't think he's even at his best in this film, which is a shame. I really am in it for the baseball stuff, and I think the playing of baseball is really good. The way they talk about baseball in the film is that they're showing a lot of care for it. Is it the best portrayal of baseball? No, it's not. But I do enjoy the use of likenesses in terms of MLB licensing and the ESPN. Like the world feels very real that this lives in, which is cool. That being said, there's a lot of point. I didn't laugh so much. The first 30 minutes, I'm like, this is great. I think the premise does the heavy lifting for this film. But love Bernie Mac in any case. I was wondering like who else could do this role? You said John Travolta is up for this?
That's who originally was meant for this, which would have been terrible with John Travolta.
Yeah, it would have been pretty horrible. can't even think of anyone else who could do this. So Bernie Mac is a jack of all trades, and for that,
Jack Black.
no, for that, I'm giving it a 3.
What?
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love it, but that was all
Okay.
right.
I
I'm
feel
not
like
gonna tell.
really.
I would never tell someone not to watch this. I'd say, yeah,
A
you're
3
not
is a
gonna
good
dislike it.
score.
Yeah. I'm just surprised because, sort of a lower brow film pick for the three of us, and I'm giving it its highest rating of a 3.5.
I mean, you don't
Wow.
have to feel shame in that.
Yeah, there's
Well, I
nothing.
just want to point
You
out
enjoyed it.
this interesting flip on its head.
You've
Yeah, I thought it
loved
was a
it.
fun movie. I thought it was a nice movie. I would 100% recommend it to pretty much anyone. It was a great way to spend an evening. I mean, honestly, like,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, I could have done with some more humor.
It was good escapism.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, yeah, great time.
Hell
3.5.
yeah.
Fish. I struggled with fish. Now there were some
Yeah, I don't think
crosses
there were
and
any fish.
crucifix in there.
Yeah, because, Latin.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think there
yeah.
was any fish.
Did they eat any fish? Was there sushi or shrimp cocktail? I couldn't find any.
Maybe there's fish
Yeah,
in the
I can't.
Chinese food.
Mm,
This is the same director who did Uncle Drew, by the way, the Uncle Drew movie.
really? I never watched it, even though Kyrie.
Yeah, he was a Cleveland boy at that time.
Yeah. Oh, he also did Drumline.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, he did do Drumline. Cool.
Yeah. This guy
Cool.
does a lot
Good
of.
pick, John. I'm glad I watched it.
Awesome. Yeah, and it gets you in baseball spirits because it's about to be a long season,
Well, I don't know if
boys.
I want to be in baseball spirit after the Pirates announced that they're spending the least money possible, despite having the best pitcher in the fucking league.
Yeah, he's gone in like 2 years, so might as well
Yeah.
use up his arm as much as possible.
Kill myself.
All right,
Cool.
Danny. What would you like us to enjoy on the big screen next time?
Next time, we will be viewing 1974's,
Oh, this is
directed
the
by Francis Ford Coppola and starring, rest in peace, God bless his soul, Gene Hackman, The Conversation.
oh
Ooh,
wow.
I've
We're
heard of it.
finally getting into some cinema
Yeah,
here.
Yeah,
this is gonna be something. I might carbon monoxide myself for it. I'm excited.
Yeah, can we just talk about the Gene Hackman trial during it?
yeah, we can. We can
Trial.
definitely devote like 15 minutes to that.
There's a trial.
I've never seen this movie before, and I am worried that it might become an all-time favorite. So,
Oh, I had to watch this for class.
really,
Yeah,
I'm a,
Jared's gonna hate this.
no, I'm aware of it. I'm trying to remember.
It's good though. This will be the oldest film. Finally, we're getting a little bit deeper into
yeah, I feel like we should be doing some older shit.
the previous century.
Why'd you go black? Okay.
I'm back,
Yeah,
right?
so that's our pick. And
Hell
thank you
yeah.
for joining us this week, and join us next week for a conversation about the conversation.
Oh, let's go
Maybe
swimming.
maybe Jared will take some pre-workout next time so he can wake up a little bit.
Sorry that Mr. 3000 was Mr. Snooze Fest.
Not enough
Another
shots of Cleveland to keep us in
another
shape.
podcast.
Rip Kid, the
No,
greatest racist of all time. Shout out George Foreman. We love you, girl.
Yeah, that's all Jared did this podcast. He called Cal Ripken a rapist, racist, and then he was silent for the rest of it.
did my 2 cents.
All right, bye,
Cheers.
folks.